Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Get real good. That's what I'm talking. Time to get real.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Rebecca L. Norrington, global happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner, oracle, but I'm going to throw in mother, too. Yes, I'm someone's mother. And hold on a second, I have to push this up a little bit. But most importantly, a student. Just like you, always learning, always growing, being open to change, being open to new beliefs, being open to new perspectives. This, when I say happiness specialist, this happiness, the good news is happiness is a practiced skill. And all I'm here to do is to share with you what to practice. Guess what? The book, Programmed for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth, is at the Formatters. Yes, sent on Friday. It is going to be published in less than a month. I know I've been saying 2 months, less than a month, and it's going to be on all the major platforms, from Barnes & Noble to Amazon, and I'm so excited. It's only taken me over, 5 years more than that. But the truth is, with me and with you, my dear listener, is that everything happens when it's time. The baby is born when it's time. The doctors, the baby was two weeks late, 5 days early. No, everything happens when it's time. And so that's part of the practice, is to relax and to surrender and know and trust that whatever is supposed to happen will when it's time. So, yes, 5, 6, 7 years later, the book, Program for Unhappiness, is going to be out. Thank goodness. Let me just back up a little bit because I have a lot of new listeners. Welcome. If you want to speak with me live, you can call the number, area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. Let me say that one more time. Area code 646-564-9619, and just press the number 1, and you can be connected directly to the show. Or if you're listening on Wisdom, or nope, it's not Wisdom anymore. What's it? Oh, it's Noom. Woo! Just ask to be connected to the show. Today's topic, well, before I get into today's topic, let me just give a very brief introduction, especially if you've never listened. Can't believe it, but yes. So when I was younger, you remember when you blow the candles out on your birthday cake and you make a wish? When I was in my teens, I always wished for the same 2 things. I wanted to live to my potential. I had no idea what that meant. I had no visualization of it. I just said, live to my potential. And the second thing is I wanted to be happy. And so like most, this search, when I say most, program people, this search for happiness, this seeking happiness, I thought I was going to find it in finding Mr. Right, or living on top of the hill, living in my dream home, which, yes, I did for 5 years, a dream home in the middle of a forest with a running creek in the backyard, 13 picture windows from ceiling to the floor, on both floors, African mahogany doors. Oh, do I need to go on? But no, that doesn't, none of that adds to your happiness. And let me be very clear. When I say happy, I'm talking about a personal vibration, a personal energy of contentment. Because some people don't like that word happy. A personal vibration and energy of contentment. An energy of peace, regardless of what's happening outside. Regardless of what happens, this happiness, this contentment, this energy of contentment never leaves. It is rooted in your core. It is rooted in who you are. It becomes, with practice, your identity. Contentment becomes your identity. Peace, inner peace becomes who you are. That's what I'm talking about when I say happiness. But the good news is, my dear audience, is that happiness is a practiced skill, like any other skill, and it just is what. Scratch that. What am I? Okay, I'm stumbling over my words. What I want to say is, it depends on what you prioritize. What is your not only prioritize, what do you think is important? What is important in this life? For me, obviously, it's this thing called happiness, this vibration, this energy of peace. And so when I say happiness is a practice skill, that's all I do is practice this 24/7. It never, ever, I'm practicing anything else. And so let me share with you my definition of happiness. My definition, and then we're going to get into today's topic. My definition of happiness is the ability to vibrate an energy of peace regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. The ability to vibrate an energy of contentment regardless of what happens, regardless of what's going on in the outer world, regardless of what's going on in the external, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your health issues, your relationships, regardless. And so I've been practicing this for 45 years, and all I'm here to do is to share what I've learned. And I don't pretend to have all the answers, but definitely 45 years of study, did I say 45 years? Did she say she's 68 now? Don't tell anybody. Shh. 68 years. And I consider myself the global leading expert on this topic. That's right, no ego here. But let's talk about today's topic. Again, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619, and press the number 1 if you want to speak with me live. Again, if you're on Zoom, also just connect. Oh, by the way, again, the book Program for Unhappiness is going to be out in less than a month, and my son and I, my only son, we do a live show on YouTube and StreamYard every Saturday morning at 9:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Listen to this. Listen to the title of this show. Woo-wee. It's called Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense Plus More. Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense Plus More. Okay. And we just recorded our 16th episode yesterday. But here we go. Let's get to today's topic. A question. Well, let me just give a little bit of background. I am a recovering, holding a grudge-aholic. I could hold a grudge for years, for decades, for as long as it took, holding on to a grudge. Now, the interesting thing is, when I say holding on to a grudge, you know what I'm talking about. It is just absolutely no way of forgetting, no way of forgiveness. And you're going to need your seatbelts. You're going to need your seatbelts for this. because I'm going to say that it doesn't matter what's happened. Oh, I know. I don't even want to say it, but I'm going to have to. From having someone being murdered in your family, because I get those emails. I have students with that same experience, to molestation, from murder to molestation. And don't think that I'm just flip and you're molested, so get over it. No, that's not what I'm saying here. I promise you, I'm not. But I'm also not saying to try to get over anything or try to forgive. My point is to have a practice. Well, let's see if you feel this one. To practice having an intention to let go. Having an intention to let go of the grudge. I'm not telling you to try to let go. I'm not telling you to try to forgive. Have an intention to let go. Why? Why do you think letting go or having an intention to let go of a grudge is going to serve you in any way? I'll tell you this, holding on to a grudge serves and feeds the ego. And when I say ego, I'm talking about, some people don't like that word either, I'm talking about that voice that is never ending, that voice in your head. You know, there's only two. That entity that tells you everything, the entity that says something needs to be changed, something's wrong, this moment needs more, we need more in this moment, something shouldn't be happening. You know, that voice, that negative, that voice that has nothing ever positive to say, nothing positive or comforting. Now I'm talking about the universal voice, the universal entity. And so and I'm going to speak for myself, when I'm holding on to a grudge or holding on to something that I just can't let go of, it's feeding the ego. And the ego needs a host. Remember the movie Alien? The ego needs a host. And the ego needs to be fed. And the ego needs a voice to survive. So let's get back to holding on to these grudges and why. One of the most challenging moments in my life, and if you've listened to me, you've heard me talk about it a million times, so forgive me. But 6 years ago, when my mother died in 2018, she gifted the family house to the handyman. Now, it took me 2 weeks, even with all my practice, it took me 2 weeks to be able to laugh about that. Because that's a funny-ass story. Mother dies, here I am, having expectations, having expectations of inheriting a house and its contents, and come to find out that an attorney who by the way, I'm appealing right now, it's going to an appellate court, that he drafted a Fourth Amendment, gifting the house to my mother's handyman. Now, my mother, I have medical records diagnosing her with dementia. I mean, I have all of this evidence, I have all of this proof that she was not in her right mind when she did that. But that's just the background, that's just the backstory. Trust me when I tell you, when I found out, you don't think I wanted that attorney dead? Scratch the dead. Just suffering, punished, all of the above. The handyman, I'm going to have to throw him in too, but no, he wasn't behind the implementation of this gifting. It was the attorney. And I had, it was probably 2 years, maybe, 2 years of not letting go, that I wanted this guy exposed, disbarred, all of the above. There was no, in fact, if you told me to to let go of holding on to a grudge with that guy, and years ago, oh, I probably would have slapped you. No, I wouldn't have slapped you. But, of course, it wasn't possible for me at that time. And why? A couple of reasons. The universe wanted me to keep holding on to the anger, keep holding on to the hate, keep holding on to the disdain for whatever reason. I'm not even going to try to come up with a why. It's not my business to come up with a why. If I'm experiencing something, if you're experiencing something, it's because it is because it's supposed to happen. It is necessary, I don't know, for my evolution, my growth. It was necessary for me to hold on to those grudges, hold on to that hate, hold on to it. And all I'm here to say is sharing that you know and I know that holding on to anything that is that opposite of love and acceptance subtracts. You cannot have an energy of contentment, pure energy of contentment, holding on to hate. Now, your ego wants you to hold on to it, and guess what helps? Guess what helps you to hold on to it? You ready? It's one of the. They call it one of the 7 sins. I'm not into the sin at all, but one of it is pride. Holding on to something and not letting go. It is that emotion, that feeling, that ego-driven pride. And as long as I have pride, as long as I have this false belief that, boy, I'm sticking it to you, I'm sticking it to them, which right there is not the truth. It's just like taking a listen. Where's my bottle of water? Don't tell me I don't have any water in here. I always have water. I left my water in the other room. Okay. It's just like drinking a bottle of water with drinking a bottle of cyanide, drinking a bottle of poison. It is that energy of holding on to grudges, holding on to a grudge, holding on to hate, holding on to it gets into your soul, into your cells at a molecular level. It gets inside. It becomes in your bloodstream. Again, there's nothing for you to do other than to shift your energy and have the intention of letting that poison, letting that go. But see, the pride, the ego is going to want you to keep it. Hold on. Now let me get back to this pride thing. How many of you, because one of the reasons, let me just finish the question. How many of you get irritated, get angry, especially with people that you're close to, and you give them the old program, you ready? Silent treatment. Oh, I was the queen of the silent treatment too. Boy, did I think I was powerful not talking to somebody because of what they did or what they said. Well, I'm upset. I'm angry. No. You're not going to behave like that. My arms. I'm standing here crossing my arms. My arms are crossed. I'll be damned if I let you get away with that. And the programmed individual. When I say programmed, you are acting from a program that is impossible. Scratch that. That you think you're doing something. You think you're doing something. Scratch that. I thought I was doing something to someone else holding on to a grudge. I'll show them. I won't speak to them for I don't care how long until they come groveling back and issuing an apology. Oh, yeah, that's who I used to be. And I was really good at it, too. Holding a grudge, I was the queen. I could hold a grudge. And it was so tasty. It was delicious. Oh, yes. I felt a false sense of power, holding something over, not talking. And my poor first husband, only husband, back in the day, listen, where did I learn it from? My parents. Marcel and Ralph could hold a grudge. I'll never forget. I could be in that house, and we would have breakfast or lunch or dinner together, sitting down as a family, and neither one of them would speak to each other inside the same house. So I'm going to give myself a pass because that's what I learned, and the same with you. What did you learn? I learned that holding a grudge is a go-to. But the truth is, holding a grudge just means, let me speak for myself, holding a grudge meant that I was trying to manipulate and control someone else. Manipulate and control somebody else. And get my way. Isn't that horrible? Let me get back to this grudge holding. Either you are able to practice, and awareness is the work. Awareness is the work. Either you are able to practice or have an intention to practice letting go. And it is a practice. The attorney that I mentioned, Sean Tanko, probate commissioner in Clark County here in Las Vegas, I have not one speck of anger, of disdain, of hate towards him. Not one. Doesn't mean I'm not going to keep fighting. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to file motions. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to go after him legally. But I don't. But there's a difference between taking care of business with an energy of contentment. There's a difference between taking care of business without that extra added. My son calls it. He calls it. What does he call it? Not spark. Charge. With the extra charge. You know that charge. That stick it to you charge. You know that vibration. I'm here to say that stick it to you, that holding grudge, all it is, it comes back to the person that is putting it out. Believe it or not, and believe it, I could cook. Well, I'm not going to say. Yeah, I could make dinner. One of my favorite dishes, one of my specialties is spaghetti. I could make spaghetti and give Sean Tanko spaghetti today. But it didn't happen overnight. And I gently encourage to, again, not try to get over it, but just have the intention to. Have the intention. Let me go back to this murder and molestation. And I know it's a heavy topic. And I say heavy, which is another program, because all judgments, all labels are also programs. But the masses would consider murder and molestation heavy. And I get it, I promise. Life is an experience without the judgments. All judgments are a program. So let's get back. There is, and I've said this on the show, but I'm gonna say it again. There is a video, you can search for it on YouTube. It's called Serial Killer Cries. Serial Killer Cries, or Making a Serial Killer Cry. And I'm not even going to tell you just Google. It's only 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes at the most. But this man, his name is Gary Ridgway, and he was a serial killer, and he murdered over 40, 50 women over decades. And at his trial, of course, the family members of the women that he murdered were casting all of this hate. And I hope you burn in hell, which is understandable when you're programmed. Because the programmed person can't do anything but respond like that. The programmed person can't do anything but hate and disdain. Okay, you're with me on that? Okay. But then there is a gentleman who his daughter was murdered, and I'm not even gonna give you the conclusion. It's go look it up for yourself. But it will. Well, I don't know if it will, but it gives me chills every time I watch it. It gives me chills every time I view that video again. The second example I want to give you, and if this father of the woman, this father can say what he said to Gary Ridgway, so can you, and so can I. I'll give you another example. You can Google this too. I know these are hard. This is a hard topic, but stay with me. The issue is the programming. And if you are not able to perceive of another perspective, then just know that you're programmed. And the ego has you by the balls, whether you have balls or not. The ego has you by the balls, by your balls. Wow, I've never said anything like that before. Woo, don't tell. Anyway, and it has you in clutches if you are not able to at least have an intention of letting that go. So second example, you can Google this. It was, I next time I'll get the year right, but I believe, was it in the 70s or the 80s? You know what, scratch the year. But it was, what happened was there was not Mormon, what's the other one? Amish. Woo! Thank you, Rusty. Thank you, Rusty cobwebs coming out of my brain. Thank you for dusting off those cobwebs. You can Google this too. In the Amish community, I don't remember the year, but there was a man who in the Amish community, all the children go to school. Well, at least in this one, all the children go to the same school from the kindergarten children to the high school. They're in the same school in the same area. And so there was a man who lined up, I don't know, 8, 10 children and killed them execution style. Now, what is the happiness specialist doing talking about this? Killed these children, murdered these children execution style, at least 8 of them. And I'm getting chills now. I'm getting overwhelmed because every time I tell this story, it hits me in a universal place. And what happened is these parents of these murdered children went to the funeral services of the murderer. These parents of these murdered children went to the parents of the man, and I believe he was shot. I believe the authorities killed him. Oh, yeah, of course, because he had a funeral. Lord have mercy. Went to the parents of this man that murdered these children, executed these children, and told them that they forgive him and they don't hold any grudges against him, against them or him. And this was instant. This wasn't a year later. This wasn't 5 years later. This was instant. This is their practice. When I say happiness is a practice skill, contentment is a practice skill, this is part of the practice. And I'm here to tell you that this practice is not easy. It's not easy. It's the most difficult practice I've ever. It's difficult. However, and here we go. The last example. Whether you believe, and this is not a religious. There's nothing to do with religion. But what was that man's name? Hold on a second. It's coming to me. Oh, the 68-year-old brain. Oh, Jesus. This guy, this dude, trial, humiliated, had to bear his own cross, a crown of thorns, stabbed, crucified. What was his message? Scratch the message. What was the lesson? What was the lesson? Forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. I'm not saying this is easy, but start with something really simple. And if you're holding a grudge against a family member because they didn't call you or because of whatever reason the ego is still feeding off of, is still chewing on, is still digesting, I just want to suggest very gently, very humbly, even if I don't sound humble, very humbly to suggest it's time to let all of this stuff go. And again, I'm not telling you what to do. Just have the intention of letting it go. Have the intention to let it go. Ask. I ask the universe every single day of what when I say what I want. Universal. How do I live more consciously? How do I live in the present moment? How do I let go of the past? How do I accept myself and others? How do I practice more trust? How do I let go of these grudges? How do I let go of hate? How do I let go? And I'm here to tell you, if you point your finger and you have hate for anyone or disdain for anyone, I don't care who it is, you are doing yourself the disservice. You are saying, no, universe, not interested. I'm going to hold on to this. This practice is not easy. It's the same, it's the same practice. What was that guy's name? I know that was a bad joke. Gandhi practiced peace. I remember looking at that movie maybe 5 years ago. I never saw it when it came out. And this mother effer sat down and had, at least, in the movie, people, horrible treatment, but still had that energy of peace. And if I can do it, if I can practice it, so can you, my dear listener. If I can practice it, so can you. And the only reason, I'm going to say it. I'm going to make a bold statement. Okay, 2 reasons. There are only 2 reasons why. No, hands crossed. I'm not interested. I'm going to hold on to my grudge. After you, Rebecca, I'm going to hold on to it. There's only 2 reasons. Number 1, it's not time for you to even fathom having an intention of letting go. And number 2, your ego is in charge. The ego holds on, I'm telling you, holds on to this pride and this disdain and this hate and this grudge. You think the ego wants to let go of any of that for peace? The ego is the opposite of peace, wants the opposite of peace. The ego has nothing to do with contentment. In fact, it's like oil and water. It just doesn't mix. So who are you serving? Who are you serving? Who are you choosing? Universal, the universe, or the ego? And when I say the universe, some people don't like that word too. I'm good. It's God, source, higher power, all that there is. That's the entity. That is what I'm talking about. It's the same. So be mindful of even allowing a word that is coming that bothers you, a word that annoys you, a word that is able to push your buttons or trigger you. A word, letters put together, I don't care what word it is. Boy, oh boy, this program for unhappiness coming out in less than a month. And all of it, 55 program behaviors, 55. And one of them is holding on to hate and disdain, and the other one is allowing words to have power. I know. Energy is power. Words don't. Let me look at my notes and make sure that I covered everything. Holding grudges. Okay, I did say murder or molestation. Boy, that was really hard for me to. Well, it wasn't hard, but I know I've got a delivery. I just have a delivery that is what's the word? It's an acquired taste. Still holding grudges. Oh, and here we go. There is a payoff that you are getting. Let me just speak for myself. There is a payoff that I was getting holding on to a grudge. Don't think that the ego isn't that and being justified. That's the thing, that payoff. I'm justified. There is not one programmed individual on this planet that I told them the story that I told them that, my mother died and left the house to the handyman. I would be justified of holding on to hate. I would be justified of not letting that go. The Amish parents that forgave their children's murderer would be justified to hold on to it. The programming is, yes, hold on to it. Hold on a second. Oh, let me click this button, click that button. Again, if you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. And then I just want to say this. So those are really holding on to major, huge murder and molestation. That's a big one. But what about just small grudges? Small. I'm going to put that label, small. And here we go, and if you have friends, and I mean friends, family members, sometimes you can't get away from their grandfathered in, but friends that get mad and hold grudges too, I've got some people that are grandfathered in, and if they don't like something I said, they can pout for months, and I just let them pout, just accept them. Okay, area code 919. I think I know who you are. I think I know. Is this Robert?
Good morning, Rebecca.
Yes, my friend Robert. Hi, Robert.
I've been enjoying your show, and I recognized for a while the energy drain that holding on can have, and so. But the reason that I wanted to buzz in is I am so happy to hear that your new book is going to be coming out.
Robert, listen, you've known me, 15 years now, and I've been writing this book for 7 years, 5 years, and less than a month, Robert. Oh, my goodness, and I'm so thank you, Universe, for having it done. I really appreciate you sharing that you are happy.
Yeah, well, I have been waiting for it for a long time, so I do hope that once it comes out, that we'll be able to talk on my show sometime about it.
Heck yes, are you kidding? You're the first person, you're my first, yes, definitely, that's a promise.
Well, great. Well, I wanted to be sure to get that invitation in and jump the gun if I could.
Oh, thank you, Robert. I'm getting chills just talking to you. I mean, thank you so much, and it's been a long journey. And let me say this too, because you know me. This book I'm not trying to make any friends here. I'm not trying to make any friends, and there's going to be a lot of triggers and a lot of buttons pushed. In fact, listen to this one. One of the chapters is called "Lies That Are Told and Then Sold," and it's about all the not all the, but a lot of the life coaches, gurus, and motivational speakers that are here. You know, lies told and then sold, and then it's called "Selling Dissatisfaction for a Profit."
Wow.
Oh, it's going to be horrible. It's horrible. I'm going to have security on me.
And I can see a few shows that might kind of not want that to be heard, but it's important. It is very important to speak the truth, your truth.
Yes, and the reason, and one of the reasons, and selling fear too, selling selling dissatisfaction. It sells just like sex. So, and then I'm going to talk about people worrying and why they worry, and then when they tell somebody that they worry, that means that they care. No, it doesn't. Oh, Robert, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm going to have to move, get extra security, and all of that.
Oh, that's all right. That's good. The world needs it. The world needs it. So. And I just you've overwhelmed me, and I'm just so. Thank you, Robert, from my heart, from the bottom of my heart, calling in to say that. Thank you so much. You're very welcome, and that's all I wanted to say. So I'll go back to listening to the show.
Well, I have a question though. Wait, hold on a second. Don't run away. Don't run away. So,
okay.
Do you have any grudges that you're holding on to, or had any grudges that could be a lesson, or at least not a lesson, but another perspective? And what did you do letting go of any grudges? Would you like to share?
Well, you see, like right now, as you've been talking, I've kind of done a little bit of a mini life review to see, if there are some that I'm holding on to and need to re-examine, and I really can't think of any grudges, really, at the moment that I have, because I just realized how detrimental to me it was. It didn't. The other person couldn't give a hoot or what it felt. So for me, it was just for my own mental health. I just had to let it go and just realize that was just a moment in time. That's all.
Mm-hmm. And it's not easy. The world doesn't teach. The program is to get upset. I mean, neighbors. I mean, you look on the internet, everybody's fighting with somebody else, but it doesn't add to the world. I call it pollution. Where all of your energy, your personal vibration is your contribution to the planet. So what am I contributing? Am I contributing acceptance, forgiveness, letting it go? No, and this, it's not personal. Nothing that anyone says to me or does is not personal. So that's just another thing that doesn't happen overnight. But it's not easy. It's not easy because the ego will try to make me believe that, yes, just like you said, I'm doing something here. I'm making them suffer. Oh, if I thought, if I'm not talking to them, they're poor life that they're having if I'm not in it.
Yeah, they're missing out on me.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I know. That's why I can't wait to talk to you about the book and the programming and all of that, and overcoming that programming. So. Yes.
Well, I am definitely going to. You're on my list. I'm up to 55. Actually, it's 56, but I like the number 55 better. I was born in 1955, but I have 56 program behaviors, and the last one is. Here we go. Seatbelt. This is another one. The last one is. Here we go. I'm giving a little teaser here. Nobody's going to like this one. Forget your legacy, and your greatness will be forgotten. What? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Now that has me scratching my head.
Yeah, because the world says, "Oh, your legacy, my legacy." Yeah, all right, that's all ego. And so the practice is serve the world while you're here, but let go of that ego wanting to be remembered, because you will be forgotten.
Right. Mm-hmm. But also remembered in certain cases.
After a generation, you're going to be forgotten. I don't care what name you. So let me give you a perfect example, and then I'll. This is from the book. Of course, this is another teaser. So Martin Luther King, while he was alive, peace, march for peace, and all of that, and on every. You see why I need security? Usually it's in every urban city in America, there's a Martin Luther King Boulevard. I remember when I was living in Los Angeles. But what goes on Martin Luther King Boulevard, the essence of what his message is not remembered on that boulevard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're going to chat again as soon as I get the book in my little hand. I'm contacting you, sending it to you, sign, and we're going to do a show. I love that, Robert. I love that.
That's great. Perfect. I look forward to it. You have a great day.
Yes, I do too. We're going to be back together. And the last time we were together was in Roseburg, when I was in Roseburg, Oregon, and now we've been together for a long time. Yes.
Very long time. Yep. That's great. Well, I'm looking forward to it, like I said. So you just hit me up whenever book is available for purchase.
I will, Robert. I will, and thank you again. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
What a great morning. Is there anyone on Noom, N-O-O-M, that wants to have a comment, ask a question? Let's see. I'm looking at there's a payoff. Yeah, that's it on Grudges. Anyone holding a grudge wants to share? Come on. Again, I just want to reiterate that your grudge, you're holding a grudge, is feeding your ego. It's all about pride. It's not doing anything to that other person, and it's also hindering it. It's like putting sand. A drop. It's like putting a drop of sand in some clear, pure spring water, dirt and sand. So it's up to you. And again, the last time, you don't have to do anything. Just have the intention to let go, the intention to forgive. Oh boy. Reality Spirituality, that's the end of today's show, and Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday morning. Oh, next week I will be traveling, so I'm not going to be able to do a show next week. No, next week, but every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And my website is RebeccaNorrington.com. My YouTube channel, again, my son and I are doing a live YouTube show every Saturday at 9:15 on YouTube or StreamYard. It's called Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense, plus more. What a great title. Follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington. LinkedIn, my Instagram handle, I said, is already Reality Spirituality. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon. And I've written a couple of chapters in some collaborative books, but the program for unhappiness is coming out. It's at the Formatters. It'll be out less than a month. Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth. And until next time, my dear audience, I want you to remember who you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. Your conscious energy, which is always evolving, always changing, always growing. Love is patient, and love is kind. Be patient, kind to yourself, by accepting yourself in every moment. Be your own best friend. You cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. Oh, and before I go, you can Google the 5 most common regrets of the dying. The 5 most common regrets of the dying. It was a study done by a hospice nurse, and these people had days to live, weeks to live, months to live, and these were their 5 most common regrets. I wish I had pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. I wish I didn't work so hard. Shout out to my workaholics. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends, and I wish I would have let myself be happier. This happiness thing, come on now, it's priority number 1 for me. And when I say happiness, the good news is happiness is a practice skill. And my definition of happiness is the ability to vibrate an energy of peace regardless of what happens. And I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace, the more contentment you're going to experience in every moment. Happiness is a practiced skill. Thank you for listening.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man.